Good afternoon, everyone.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to our COMM 811 Biostatistics 1. Today, we embark on a foundational overview of principles in biostatistical inquiry, focusing especially on study session 3, which is data collection, and study sessions 4, which is our sources of data. The sessions are crucial for understanding how we gather and utilize information in the field of biostatistics. But before we dive into today's topic, there is a need for us to have a recap. Let's quickly recap our previous discussion, where we explored the fundamental meaning of statistics and delve into the concepts of variables and measurement. A core principle we established is that statistics fundamentally relies on numerical data. And in the previous class, we've also bring in different definitions that has to do with collection of these numerical data. Now, what is data collection? It is important to note that at the very heart of a statistical inquiry, it actually lies in data collection. Now, this is the comprehensive process of gathering, meticulously measuring, and then analyzing accurate data. This information is drawn from a variety of relevant sources, all with the ultimate goal of finding robust answers to our research problems. Why is this process so critical? That's the process of data collection. Um, this has to do with achievements, or rather, because it allows us to evaluate outcomes, to rigorously test the hypothesis of the same research in question, and even forecast future trends and probabilities with a degree of confidence. The golden rule here is actually paramount, that the entire process must be systematic, where any haphazard approach to data collection will inevitably lead to conclusive results, which can also lead to undermining the validity of our entire investigation. The starting point is actually the objective of the study and the scope of the study in question. Before uh, you even begin to collect a single piece of data, it is absolutely imperative to define your study objective and the scope of your study, because most of the times is the objectives that guide your choice of hypothesis, and then your hypotheses now are meant to be tested, and these will determine the kind of analysis you want to subject your data to. Now, this is your starting point. This is your blueprint. That's the objective and the scope of the study. First, the objective of the inquiry must be clear, concrete, and unambiguous. What exactly is the goal of your study? These objectives will directly determine the very nature of the statistics or data you need to collect. Secondly, the scope of the inquiry defines the precise boundary of your investigation. It sets the limits and parameters, and this scope in turn significantly influences the specific techniques you will employ for both the data collection and subsequent analysis of the data. A well defined objective and scope are not just important, they are the first and most critical steps in ensuring the success and relevance of any statistical investigation. Now, what are the variables we're measuring? What are we actually measuring to be able to generate data or for us to be able to collect our data? Now, this has to do with the statistical units, and this is central to data collection. Um, can lead to understanding of what we are actually measuring. This brings us to the concept of statistical unit. A statistical unit, which is a well-defined and identifiable objective or group of objects with which the measurements or counts in any statistical investigation are associated. Now, for example, in a socio-economic survey, the statistical unit could be an individual person, a household, or even a specific geographic area. Clarity is absolutely key here. You must clearly define the statistical unit before data collection even begins in such a way, or rather to ensure consistency and precision throughout your study. But what are the requisites of a good statistical unit? Now, it is important to note that for a statistical unit to be truly effective and reliable, it must possess several key requisites. Think of these as the five pillars supporting a robust statistical investigation. Firstly, um, a good statistical unit must be unambiguous, meaning clearly defined to avoid any confusion or misinterpretation. Secondly, it should be specific with a precise definition that leaves no room for subjective interpretation. And then, thirdly, stability is crucial for every good statistical unit. The definition of unit should remain consistent and not change over the course of your study. And then, number four on the list is that a statistical unit must be appropriate, meaning the unit is relevant and suitable for the objective of your specific inquiry. And finally, um, it must be uniform, apply consistently across your entire data set to ensure comparability and accuracy. But what are the different types of statistical units? For a statistical unit, these can be broadly classified into two major categories reflecting their role in the data process. Now we have units of collection and units of analysis and interpretation. For units of collection, these are those statistical units used during the initial data gathering phase. That's at initial phase of raw data collection. These are further subdivided into units of enumeration, which are the basic items being observed, such as a single patient, and units of recording, which are the terms in which the data is quantified. Like, for example, variables like the blood pressure in millimeters of mercury, or height of individuals in either centimeters. Yes, height of individuals in centimeters. The second category of the type of statistical units is units of analysis and interpretation, which are the forms in which statistical data are ultimately analyzed and interpreted. This is where our inferential statistics play a great role, as discussed in our previous lectures. These are often derived from the collection unit and commonly include rates such as mortality rates. We have ratios like male to female ratios, percentages, and various coefficients or variables. Now, to choosing your data collection method, what are the different methods that can be put into consideration for data collection? Now, selecting the appropriate data collection method is also a critical decision in biostatistics, and it largely depends on your unique research context. There are several key factors you must consider. First and foremost is the nature, scope, and object of your inquiry. What exactly are you trying to achieve with your research? This will be the most significant determinant. And then most of the time, these will always guide the type of statistics you actually want to subject your data to. Now, secondly, the availability of funds play a major role. Your budget will influence the scale and the type of method you can realistically employ. Now, if you don't consider these aspects, these are some of the things that led to failure in completion of some of or a lot of research. Now, thirdly, the time factor is crucial. How much time uh, do you have to allot or to allocate for a data collection, as this can be a lengthy process. And finally, the precision required for your study will dictate how rigorous and detailed your chosen method must be. Carefully weighing these factors will guide you to the most effective data collection strategy. Now we've been talking about our data collection, but what are the two different type of data? Now data can be grouped into either a primary or a secondary data. When considering where your data comes from, we primarily distinguish between two types. That's the primary data and the secondary data. The primary data is information that you collect yourself. That's the data you generated directly from your established research. While for a secondary data, the utilization of other data, maybe from the previous literature or from a previous research, some other researchers or individuals have carried out. Now, this is accepted in biostatistics. It's not wrong, but at the end of the day, there is a need to cite the individuals that you're utilizing their own data. That's in form of a secondary data. Now, primary data, by means of definition, now primary data is information that you collect yourself for a specific purpose or new purpose. Now, this could involve direct investigation, that's your own research, or conducting surveys, performing experiments, or making direct observations. Now, the main advantage of primary data is that it is tailored precisely to your research question. In contrast, secondary data is information that has already been collected by someone else for a different purpose. Now, sources of secondary data include published materials like previous published journals or articles that is tailored precisely. Sources of secondary data include published materials like the government reports or academic journals, as well as unpublished sources such as internal records from private firms or organizations. Now, it is important to know that both types have their unique advantages and disadvantages. That's for both primary and secondary type of data. And the choice depends on your type of research or what your research needs and the resources that you need for your research. Now, in data collection, sometimes we could use a method of establishing a questionnaire to generate or to collect a data. But now, how do you have an effective questionnaire? How do you design effective questionnaire? Now, whether you are using open-ended or closed-ended question in your data collection instrument, the design of these questions is paramount. All effective questions must meet several crucial requirements. They must have face validity, meaning they appear relevant and meaningful to the respondent. They must be clear and unambiguous. Yes, because it's a questionnaire, you need to make your questions very clear. Clarity matters a lot. Now, all effective questions must meet several crucial requirements. They must have face validity, meaning they appear relevant and meaningful to the respondent. They must be clear enough. There should be avoidance of things like jargons or complex phrasing that could lead to misinterpretation. It is also vital that they are not offensive. We should not have questions in our questionnaire that could be offensive to the respondents. Now, showing sensitivity to the respondent's background and feelings. And importantly, our questions should always be fair, avoiding any leading or biased language that might suggest a correct answer. Um, I think at this point, I would like to thank the members, yes, for having the time to attend these particular lectures. Unless if there are questions, questions are welcome from the members. So thank you very much once again. I think the floor is open now in case if there is any question. But in absence of questions are welcome in any form. They can be sent to my WhatsApp or through this platform, and then I will respond to the individual questions. And I'll be hoping that we should be able to hold our tomorrow's lectures at the same time. Thank you very much.